see how he's trying to pull with his front kick.
Brazilian Jiu Jitsu is a martial art best known for its powerful grappling techniques and fierce ground fighting. BJJ practitioners are highly skilled and well-trained in these areas. This was clearly demonstrated when one practitioner faced an Aikido master in the following match. In this fight, we can see how the Aikido practitioner was repeatedly taken down by the Jiu Jitsu fighter. In addition to having superior takedown techniques, the Jiu Jitsu practitioner also exhibited remarkable speed in stand-up combat. On the other hand, there is one of the oldest and most respected forms of martial arts, Shaolin Kung Fu. Shaolin Kung Fu is one of the oldest, most renowned, and most intricate martial arts in the world. Originating more than 1,500 years ago in China, this art is deeply connected to the Buddhist practices of the Shaolin monks. These monks dedicated their lives to both physical and spiritual training, believing that mastering martial arts was a path to enlightenment. What makes it even more unique is that each branch of Kung Fu martial arts also incorporates different weapons. For example, the Shaolin style of Kung Fu utilizes a wooden staff, commonly referred to as the Dharma staff. So, when Shaolin Kung Fu meets BJJ, which martial art comes out on top? To answer this question, let's take a look at Zhi Wei, one of the first martial artists with a background as a former Shaolin monk to compete in one championship. Zhi Wei was initially just a mischievous boy who often caused trouble. However, his life took a drastic turn after he saw a video of the Shaolin Temple on social media. At 14, he joined the temple, where he was trained under the guidance of Shaolin warrior monks and eventually became an instructor. Zhi Wei later decided to move to Qingdao to pursue his dream of becoming a professional fighter. This is where he developed his unique skill set, combining modern MMA with ancient martial arts. Zhi Wei's decision to pursue a career in MMA proved to be the right one, as he found success and joined one championship. One of his most spectacular fights was against a BJJ black belt named Reese McLaren. This match did not start well for McLaren. Early in the first round, Xi managed to lock McLaren's leg and landed a punch directly on his face, leaving McLaren on the defensive. As the fight continued, McLaren was momentarily floored by a sharp right overhand punch from Wei. Not only that, Xi continued to demonstrate his dominance in the fight by landing a second punch directly on McLaren's face, causing him to lose his balance. Determined not to lose, McLaren took the fight to the ground, which of course played to the strengths of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The Australian athlete gained control of the fight by securing a clinch position before executing a beautiful double-leg takedown moments later. And as it turned out, after a fierce grappling exchange on the ground, Xi had no choice but to surrender to McLaren's deadly submission hold. This allowed the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fighter to claim victory over the Shaolin martial artist. In addition to Zhi Wei, there is also another MMA fighter with a background in Shaolin Kung Fu who made it to the UFC stage, Zabit Magomedsharipov. The Shaolin-style fighting technique that Zabit uses is known as Wushu Sanda, or sometimes referred to as Sanshu. In the UFC, Zabit maintained a perfect record of 6 wins without a single loss. Unfortunately, this featherweight fighter decided to retire early in 2021. His last fight before retirement took place at UFC Fight Night Moscow, where he faced Calvin Kattar.
rounds in the featherweight division for this main event. Tonight,
both fighters were strikers with very different techniques. Calvin Kattar fought like a true MMA fighter, while Zabit's style was unpredictable. Throughout the fight, there was very little clinching. They both primarily attacked each other using dominant kicks. In the second round, Zabit successfully took Calvin down, although the takedown didn't have a significant impact. Zabit also showcased an impressive technique by delivering a high kick while balancing on one hand. Then in the third round, both fighters relied more on punches, likely because they were beginning to tire after an intense bout. At the end of the fight, the referee declared the Shaolin fighter the winner. Next, let's move on to a fight between a BJJ purple belt and a Kung Fu Wing Chun master. At the start of the match, both fighters were cautious, exchanging only a few kicks while trying to maintain distance. Then, suddenly, the BJJ fighter grabbed his opponent's leg and slammed him hard onto the canvas. Lastly, there is a memorable moment when a large-bodied fighter entered a Jiu Jitsu dojo and challenged the master to a fight. The two engaged in a lengthy ground battle. The challenger proved to be tough to defeat, as he kept escaping the master's submission attempts using his incredible physical strength. Afterward, the bodybuilder continued the fight by taking off his shirt, signaling that he was ready to fight more seriously this time. But the jiu-jitsu master also fought with increased determination. This time, he successfully dominated his opponent with a neck choke. In the end, the muscular challenger was left helpless and suffered a humiliating defeat.